Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. We go to Mexico City to hear from some women fighting to increase protections after some police officers there are accused of assault. In Poland, there's a village where no boys have been born for 10 years. Japan has an android priest. And a popular song made even more so by a show, Explained. And at the top of our newsfeed, Mexican police. There have been protests in the capital city after some officers there were accused of rape. Now, women have been calling on authorities to do more to protect them and have been raising their voices on social media. But as Valeria reports from Mexico City, women say they don't feel safe when the people they look to for protection are sometimes also the ones attacking them.
These women are making their point with an unusual tool. Pink glitter. Female protesters use it to shower Mexico City's security minister Jesus Horta. They are demanding justice in 2 cases where police officers are accused of raping girls. They march for 2 hours until they reach their final destination, Mexico City's Office of the Attorney General. Once there, they smash through the glass door of the building, hang up a pig's head in an effort to taunt Mexico's police force. One of the protest organizers spoke with TRT about the lack of security impacting women's daily lives.
We're mad and we're sad. Every day we leave our homes without knowing if we're going to be able to return or if we're going to face a violent attack in the streets.
During the protest, a woman was filmed damaging the Mexico City Attorney General's office. The video went viral, as well as the message she left explaining her actions. The damage done to the building installations can be repaired in a day. The life of someone who has been sexually assaulted can never be repaired. As a result of the investigation into the attacks, the city's mayor, Claudia Sheinbaum, announced that 1 policeman was placed under arrest and 6 police officers were suspended. She promised to solve these cases regardless of the accused belonging to the city's police forces.
6 police members have been suspended while the investigation is underway. As I have said before, no one will be above the law, but we also won't punish anyone unduly.
Social media users in Mexico are calling for action. The hashtag No me cuidan, me violan, or They don't look after me, they rape me, has been used more than 50,000 times on Twitter. Violence against women is prevalent in Mexico, but very few cases are reported to authorities. Members of Luchadoras, a feminist group, explained that this is because of a lack of trust in the justice system.
If the police are the ones who are raping women, then they're not going to do anything to punish those who are responsible for these acts.
Women across Mexico hope these cases will draw attention to what they call a failure in the whole system. That's why they are taking to the streets and Twitter, saying authorities have ignored their plight for decades.
All right, let's take a look at some other things that caught our eye on social media. Now, July was the hottest month recorded on Earth ever, a worrying sign of the danger of the climate crisis. The data recorded by scientists all over the globe shows the Earth is warming faster than predicted. They say it's led to the heat waves we've seen across Europe and America this summer and the resultant wildfires. It also has led to the sea ice melting faster at both ends of the globe. The report says that almost 26 million square kilometres have been lost, which means rising sea levels are threatening the safety of billions of people who live in coastal regions. A school in Burundi is considering withholding the graduating diplomas of these teenagers who tore up their uniforms on the last day of class and put the pictures on social media. The fact the pictures went viral means these kids celebrating the end of school was discussed at a Security Council meeting and condemned by the nation's president. And President Trump has raised the possibility the US could buy Greenland from Denmark. Greenland is a strategic island between the US and Europe and is technically part of North America. It is the biggest island on Earth. The US has thought about buying it twice before, once in 1867 and once in 1946 when President Harry Truman offered $100 million. The Prime Minister of Denmark tweeted saying that this idea of Trump's must be an out-of-season April Fool's joke, and not a funny one at that. And this is a book called Why Does Bolsonaro Deserve Respect, Trust and Dignity? And all of its 188 pages are blank. It's being sold on Brazilian Amazon, and its creator said it's a protest against that guy, President Jair Bolsonaro, who he says deserves nothing. And there have been physical protests against the president in the capital, Brasilia. This is called the Daisies March, and 100,000 women came out to voice their anger at the government and call for more rights and protection against violence. President Bolsonaro once said that a rival politician was not attractive enough for him to rape. And now to a weird but wonderful village in Poland that has an amazing and unexpected record. Not a single boy has been born there in 10 years, and scientists want to know why. And with fewer boys, the sisters are doing it for themselves.
This all-girl fire brigade isn't just fighting fires, but stereotypes too. They're from the southern Polish village of Miecze Odzański, which is experiencing a demographic mystery. No boys have been born here for almost a decade.
There are no boys, so the women need to do the job.
During their training, the girls learn how to fight fires and perform first aid, often using teddy bears as their props. Some start soon after they can walk.
I am Maya, and I am 2 years old.
The village has fewer than 300 residents. The county's mayor is now offering a prize to parents who have a son.
I thought it would be a very nice surprise when I offered to the parents of the first boy who's born here after 9 years, and that will incentivize parents in this village.
But this isn't stopping the girls from taking on activities that had traditionally been left up to the men.
I'm very proud of the women in my fire department. They're really determined people who put a lot of their heart into what they do.
In June, the all-girl team came in first in a regional firefighting competition, proving they can win prizes of their own.
Okay, and now to Japan, where they're using technology to add a futuristic element to an ancient tradition.
$2000 年仏様は立ったり座ったり寝たり動かないんです。そろそろ動く仏さんが出てもいいんじゃないか。すなわち動く、そして話せる、会話ができる、そういう仏さんに出ていただいたらどうか。これがこのロボット観音を作った理由です。追い求め、私は神仏になっていくんだ、神仏を追い求めるんだ、これが信仰であるという確固たる仏教。相手が機械であろうが鉄であろうが木であろうが関係ない。
And we keep spinning around the world now for some other stories you needed to know this Friday. Now, if you use Instagram and are in America, you can now flag when you see something that is fake. When something's flagged, it will not be deleted, but rather downplayed by the algorithm on the Explore and hashtag pages. Instagram and Facebook have a massive problem with fake news and misinformation and are relying on their users to help their systems learn what is false behavior. The negotiations between the men's and US national soccer teams have broken down over equal pay have broken down acrimoniously. The women's world champs say the US men's team are paid more than them. The head of the Football Federation there published a letter last month showing the women were paid more than the men by the federation. But the women's lawyers said the numbers were false. The men and women have negotiated different pay structures, and the men have access to greater bonuses if they would ever win anything. The pay of the women's team will now be decided in court. And the Netflix show La Casa de Papel, known as Money Heist in English, is a favourite for many, and there's a song in it with a pretty interesting history. Here's Mo Hassan.
If you're a fan of this show, then you're very familiar with this song. But did you know it has a very long and fascinating history? One of rebellion, anti-establishment sentiments, and yes, la resistance. The highly anticipated third season of La Casa de Papel, aka Money Heist, is back, with even higher stakes and a much higher Netflix budget. I mean, look at all these locations. And with the return of Tokyo, Nairobi, and El Profesor, is also the return of the song that's been stuck in my head for over 2 years.
I have no idea if this is gonna work or not, but here goes. Sono alzato, oh bella ciao, 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 ciao. Stamattina mi sono alzato e ho trovato l'invaso.
Without getting into spoilers, so if you're the last person on earth who hasn't seen it, you can rest easy. But also, what are you doing with your life? The song plays a central role in the show's first 2 seasons, where the mastermind of the heist, Alvaro Mortes El Profesor, teaches it to his cast of con men and women. He explains he was taught it by his own grandfather, who fought against Nazis in Italy in the 40s and 50s. And that is a big hint about where the song comes from. It started as a folk song in rural Italy and spoke about the plight of the Modena, the rice weeders in the River Po basin during the late 19th century. They were symbolic of poverty and tough labor conditions in pre-industrial era Italy. No one knows for sure who wrote the song, but back then it sounded like this. A few decades later, and Mussolini's fascist state has become a dominating factor in people's lives. A new resistance movement was born, and Bella Ciao evolved with it. Its words changing to reflect the fight against fascism and the Nazi occupation. Now it spoke of Il Partigiano, the anti-fascist militias made up of young soldiers fleeing conscription.
Stamattina mi sono alzato, oh bella ciao, 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 ciao. Stamattina mi sono alzato e ho trovato l'invaso.
Bella Ciao suddenly became the pulse of a people fighting for change and freedom, as well as a rebranding of Italy after World War II, when it switched sides and tried to forget about its collaboration with the Nazis. But over time, the song has continued to evolve, becoming an anthem for not one, but several football clubs across Europe. It's also been covered 100 different times and received special treatment by some of the world's most iconic musicians, like Tom Waits.
Oh, Partigiano, please take me with you.
Even Stephen Aoki. But it still retained its roots of rebellion and defiance, showing up in protest movements all across Europe. From Greece after the left-wing Syriza party took power in 2015, to the Catalan independence protests in Barcelona, to this year's Yellow Vest movement in France.
And that is your lot from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel and you can follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe and add. Have a great weekend.